Hello and welcome. This is Africa in 10 minutes, bringing you the top business news as reported on Footprint Africa. I'm Chamaka J. Uwadoka. First, let's take a look at the headlines. The United States restores trade benefits for Swaziland. Zanzibar launches trade exhibition to attract investors from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. Malawi and Morocco keen to strengthen bilateral ties in agricultural development. And now the news in detail. The United States has restored trade benefits for Swaziland, which were earlier withdrawn because of human rights violations. Swaziland lost assistance under the African Growth and Opportunity Act (AGOA) in January 2015 due to concerns over restrictions on the freedoms of peaceful assembly, association, and expression. AGOA allows African countries to export goods to the United States tariff-free, but the US had halted such benefits for Swaziland due to human rights abuse allegations. However, Swaziland has not been given a clean bill of health by the United States. A statement issued by the US Embassy in Swaziland said the kingdom has been reviewed and priorities for the future has been suggested, including but not limited to eliminating child labor and promoting women's protections. Swaziland was suspended from AGOA after it failed to meet 5 benchmarks, including full passage of amendments to the Industrial Relations Act, full passage of amendments to Section 40 and 97 of the Industrial Relations Act relating to civil and criminal liability of union leaders during protest actions, and establishing a code of good practice for the police during public protests. Moving on, East Africa's young population is expected to grow at a rapid pace as more youth join the region's job market in the coming decades. According to a UN report titled World Population Prospects, the number of people in East Africa is expected to grow from 282 million in 2016 to 596 million in 2050. East Africa is also young, states a report from the United States-based information company Economic Analysis and Data Services (EADS). The average median age for East African countries is 18 years old, and on average, more than 60% of persons in East African countries are below the age of 25, according to a 2017 analysis by the UN Population Division. It is estimated that 55% of East Africa's population will be below the age of 25 by 2030, with a median age of 23 by the same year, EADS research indicates. This means that the majority of the East African population either already have or will go to school or college, or are about to enter the workforce. This has major implications for the region, EADS researchers said in their analysis. The research comes just as Kenya, East Africa's largest economy, is planning to focus on deepening regional integration following a recent deadlock on the WTO trade negotiations. Kenya's principal secretary for the country's Ministry of Trade, Chris Kitu, said that the 11th World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference held in December 2017 ended in a stalemate, resulting in no key multilateral outcomes. Given little progress being made at the multilateral trade engagements, Kenya will put more focus on deepening regional integration at the East African Community (EAC), Common Markets for Eastern and Southern Africa (COMSA), Tripartite Free Trade Area bringing together EAC, COMSA, and the Southern African Development Community (SADC), and the Continental Free Trade Area (CFTA), Kitu said. The IMF has implied that East Africa's youth could stand to benefit from said agreements. EADS experts argue that a young population can be an asset, adding that it can provide a large tax base as the number of working-age individuals enter the economy. It can also provide an increase in the consumer economy as more young people enter the market and lead to growth in manufacturing and service sectors as more people join the workforce. This is according to a 2017 report from the Royal Geographical Society, a United Kingdom-based professional body. Therefore, it is of utmost importance that right policies, laws, and institutions are introduced in order to harness the demographic dividend, EADS researchers affirmed. In other news, Zanzibar, a semi-autonomous region of Tanzania, has just concluded a trade exhibition in a bid to attract investors from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The second Vice President of Zanzibar, Mr. Seif Ali Idi, opened the high-profile event at Misara Grounds in Unguja, an island in Tanzania, on Sunday, January 7, 2018. Unguja is the largest and most populated island of the Zanzibar archipelago. Tourism is a major foreign currency earner for Zanzibar, which the Tanzanian government has established as a free port area. The Free Port Directive contributes to economic diversification by providing a window for free trade as well as stimulating the establishment of support services. It also provides the administration a regime that imports, exports, and warehouses general merchandise. According to the Bureau of African Affairs, A US organization with operations in sub-Saharan Africa, it provides infrastructure to cater for effective operation of trade. The island's manufacturing sector is limited mainly to import substitution industries such as cigarettes, shoes, and processed agricultural products. The Bureau has established that Zanzibar still imports much of its staple requirements as well as petroleum products and manufactured articles. The trade exhibition was organized to reinvigorate the region's trade sector by connecting Tanzania to international markets and new investment opportunities. Moving on, the Moroccan Secretary of State for Rural Development, Water and Forest, Hamou Weli, held talks with Malian Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation, Emmanuel Fabiano, on means to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the field of agriculture. Weli told MAP that this meeting, which is part of South-South cooperation in accordance with the African vision of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, was an opportunity to examine ways to promote bilateral cooperation in the field of agriculture, adding that at the end of talks, the two countries will sign 2 agreements. The cooperation is made up of aid to farmers, particularly through the implementation of drip irrigation systems on agricultural lands in Malawi, he said. It is also about training Malawi's farmers in order to strengthen the organizational capacity of professionals in structured legal forms such as cooperatives and associations, said Weli, noting that the structuring of the profession is imperative for the development of the sector in this country. For his part, Fabiano stressed the need to cooperate with Morocco in the field of agriculture, given the kingdom's achievements in this area, especially in irrigation, noting that in addition to rain-fed agriculture, Malawi is seeking to develop irrigation systems, particularly the technique of drip irrigation. In West Africa, the World Bank has forecast that economic growth in Nigeria would edge up to at least 2.5% in 2018 as the country benefits from improved commodity prices, investment and trade. According to the World Bank's January 2018 Global Economic Prospects Report, Nigeria's GDP is expected to grow by 2.8% in 2019 and 2020. Nigeria is anticipated to accelerate to a 2.5% rate this year from 1% growth in the year just ended. An upward revision to Nigeria's forecast is based on the expectation that oil production will continue to recover and that reforms will lift non-oil sector growth, the report predicted. According to the bank, growth in sub-Saharan Africa is projected to continue to rise to 3.2% in 2018 and to 3.5% in 2019 on the back of firming commodity prices and gradually strengthening domestic demand. However, the report showed that growth will remain below pre-crisis averages, partly reflecting a struggle in larger economies to boost private investment. The news agency of Nigeria reports that the World Bank also forecasts that global economic growth will go up to 3.1% in the year. And finally this week, faster adoption of an open sky policy has the potential to increase tourist arrivals in Kenya's coastlines by threefold, Pride Inn Group of Hotels Managing Director Mr. Hisnain Nurani has said. Speaking on Monday, January the 8th, 2018, he added that expediting the process will boost international tourism traffic to Kenya's famous Moi International Airport and subsequently drive up booking numbers for hotels to sustain a tourism boom experienced in the last quarter of 2017. The move aims at attracting more international tourists from Europe and other destinations across the globe. Reducing air access limitations related to air travel will be imperative in attracting more global visitors. To accelerate sustainability of tourism development at the coast, the government ought to open up skies in Mombasa so that airlines from across the world can operate flights to Moi International Airport, he said. The move will boost tourism and also sell Mombasa, one of Kenya's leading travel destinations internationally, as a meeting, incentive, conference and exhibition destination. As a preferred tourist destination, Kenya's coast is on the rebound following a prolonged political season and long-period slump linked with terror threats and travel advisories. We need this to be adopted sooner than later as it will complement Mombasa's attractiveness, especially when it comes to the ease of doing business. Liberalization of air transport contributes to greater trade and tourism, inward investment, productivity growth, increased employment and economic growth, Nurani said. A study by global management consulting firm Intervistas on costs and benefits of open skies in 2017 estimated that liberalization between the 5 EAC countries could result in an additional 46,320 jobs and $200.1 million per annum in GDP. International air services are being progressively liberalized throughout the world. The study affirmed that an open sky policy is the ultimate form of liberalization which permits airlines to operate in countries without any restrictions. Pride Inn is a leading Kenya-based hospitality chain with operations in Nairobi and Mombasa, two of the East African countries' leading tourist destinations. With this, we conclude on this week's news. Please stay tuned for a recap of the story. The US restores trade benefits for Swaziland. East African governments urged to invest in region's youth as growing population prepares to flood job market. Zanzibar launches trade exhibition to attract investors from Africa, Asia and the Middle East. Malawi and Morocco keen to strengthen bilateral ties in agricultural development. World Bank predicts 2.5% growth for Nigeria in 2018. Adoption of open sky policy to triple Kenya's international tourist arrivals. Join the conversation on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and connect with us on LinkedIn. Stay updated with the trending business news in Africa. Log on to www.footprintsafrica.com today. Footprints Africa, business news made in Africa by Africans.